Sorry, Facebook. I forgot to unmute you. You're listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, but you know that already. It's Friday edition. I'm your host, Lil Garbage, aka Gabi.
Little garbage. Will it stick? We don't know.
We're gonna find out. I'm gonna try my best to let this stick because I kind of want to. I'm sorry, Facebook. Once again, I forgot to turn on. Sorry, Facebook. Facebook, we haven't done much yet. But I am Little Garbage, and they're gonna call me Gabi throughout the show. We got Terry Dickerson, my co-host over here.
Hello.
We got our sportscaster Emily Struble, and we got our segment host Gina Morelli. That's what we got in studio today.
Very much upstate New Jersey. Very much.
It's giving very much a lot.
Trying to give Little Garbage a personality. Come on.
God gives Little Garbage a personality. Okay, I can give it the British accent, but right now I'm on this, so we're gonna stick with this for a quick second.
Lord help us.
Oh, no.
I don't need this. Gina, sweetheart,
Yes.
can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Do you want to give the news update that we have currently written?
Sure.
You just gotta read it.
Okay. I can do it.
You got it.
So in international news, the Paralympics committee has decided to block Russian and Belarusian athletes from the Winter Paralympics in Beijing in the wake of Russian attack against Ukraine. In national news, just as Breonna Taylor. So I'll move on. A jury in Louisianaville, Kentucky, has found Brett Haxon, the former police officer charged with reckless shooting into a neighborhooding apartment during the course of the raid that ended with the death of Breonna Taylor. He found not guilty on all 3 counts of wanted endangerment in the first degree. He was charged with 3 counts of wanton endangerment for firing multiple shots into a neighboring apartment that endangered the lives of 3 people on March 13th, 2020. The jury is debating for just 3 hours before returning to its verdict. In state news, Governor Phil Murphy announced on Thursday that his administration will extend property tax relief to about 1.8 million New Jersey households by replacing the state's homestead benefit program. The tax relief is part of the governor's state budget proposal he is set to unveil during a speech at the State House in Trenton on Tuesday. Under the new program, New Jersey homemakers making up to $25,000 would be eligible to receive an average $700 rebate in the first year, and renters make up to $100,000 would be eligible for rebate up to $250 to help offset the cost of rent increases due to property taxes. In local news, a New Jersey prisoner is dead. An Essex County inmate died on February 22nd while he was in custody at a private-run jail. According to the Essex County Prosecutor's Office, which is investigating the death, the inmate was Garrison Bryant. He was 33. He pleaded guilty in January on a charge of aggravated assault on a law enforcement officer. The prosecutor's office said he was sentenced later this month. Ryan's death at the 3rd time since September that his inmate has died or been seriously injured while in court custody. The weather today is clear with a high of 41 and a low of 25 with a fair air quality of 26.
I feel like that's a low air quality.
I don't know anything.
Was
I don't know
36?
anything about air quality.
I know that I
have
26.
asthma.
Yeah, right. Normally, like a normal one is like 50.
Yeah.
Oh, noted.
Keep
Cool.
the mask on
So
when I go
maybe- so
outside.
that's-
Keep the
Right.
mask on. Maybe not breathe that air. You know. Wow.
I know we're close to New York, but whoa.
But whoa. I know.
Whoa.
I saw like a bunch of like fog the other day over the city, which was not like fog. It was like that grody stuff. I'm blanking on the word.
Yummy.
And I was like,
Musty air. Here we come.
yeah. So happy, so excited. On that note.
Sports.
Hey Emily, you want to give us our sports update?
I would love to talk about some sports.
Oh my gosh, thanks.
The NFL and NFL Association have suspended all league-wide COVID-19 protocols effective immediately, pausing 2 years of largely successful play through the pandemic. Many of the league's most severe protocols have been dropped by the end of the 2021 season. The MLB is still at a hold right now. Owners and players are unable to agree on a collective bargaining agreement to replace the previous deal that expired on December 1st. MLB Commissioner Rob Manfield canceled the 2 series for the 30 teams, cutting each club's schedule from 162 games to a likely 156 games at most. A total of 91 games were erased. The NHL suspended its relationship with Russian business partners on Monday. Since then, advertisers like CCM and Mass Mutuals have elected to pull marketing ads involving Capital star Alexander Ovechkin and other Russian players due to the ongoing Ukraine invasion. Here in Montclair, women's lacrosse had a crushing loss Wednesday against FDU, losing 20-2. The men's team also failed to pull out a win against Yersinis College, losing 9-13. Both teams will look to bounce back from the losses tomorrow afternoon. The men play at 12 and the women at 1. That's all I got for sports.
Thank you so much, Emily.
Sports.
It was great. It was fantastic. I thought, wow, 91 games were erased. Not to comment on it, but I was like, you said that, I was like, whoa,
that's like
crazy.
big money out of pocket. They're arguing about money right now, and they just lost.
And that's just like
so much.
Bye. 91 games worth. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's insane.
So now fans are like, when is opening game? They don't even want to buy anything. So it's just a huge struggle right now. So
that's insane. Wow. Thank you, Emily. I appreciate that. Before I move on to like our good stories of the day, I just feel like I need to shout out my mom. It's her birthday today.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Beth. I love you. Low Garbage loves you. You raised this. I hope she's listening, because if not, that was a whole waste of like 30 seconds. We're gonna move on to some stories. Once again, a lot about Ukraine, but a lot about like different stuff that is maybe not happening in Ukraine, but what people are doing about it. So we're gonna move on to the first story of the morning, which is kind of a nice story. Like, I mean, if it has to do with Ukraine, I mean, that's not nice, that's going on right now. But what this person is doing is great. So basically, the Point Pleasant Beach mayor is heading to Poland in hopes of helping Ukrainian refugees. This is so sweet of him. Okay, so the mayor of a Jersey town, which is Point Pleasant Beach, is heading to Poland in the hopes of helping those Ukrainian refugees. He's bringing with him items like blankets, toiletries, diapers, things like that, in 5 large suitcases. So packed tightly. Like many of us, Kenitra has seen the horrors of the war unfold on TV, and he has watched as a wave of refugees flee Ukraine in search of peace. Obviously, many of them do not want to be there. He said, quote, "and how they have been completely displaced with no place to go, no assets, no resources or anything like that. And I booked a ticket at 2:30 in the morning, and here we are," end quote. Wow, this was like a really quick decision.
Yeah.
Kenitra is flying to Poland, where he rented a 10-passenger van to drive the Ukrainian border village of Medica to hand out supplies and give rides to bus and train stations. The mayor comes from Polish and Slovakian heritage, but he was also inspired by the countless students, many from Eastern Europe, who traveled to the Jersey Shore to work every year. Wow. See, this is kind of nice, because this goes to show that like every little deed is worth something, you know, like nothing goes unnoticed.
Absolutely. Especially in this time, especially when so many people are in need, and like we already live in a divided world, but the fact that people can come together and still find a way to find a common ground to just help people who are in need right now, it just shows that there's still kindness in the world, that there's still hope in the world, in people's hearts. And what this man is doing is great. Like, honestly, just booking a flight, 2 a.m.
He's gonna pack
just
5
go for it.
suitcases
Right,
filled
so
with like
spontaneous.
blankets and toiletries and diapers, and he's gonna just try to fit it. He rents out a van. Like, he's
Yeah.
really like, okay, he wants to help. And it's,
Yeah,
like,
and you know
just so
what?
sweet.
And I'm sure those 10 people that'll fit in that van, which it sounds like a small number, but 10 people is like,
That's a lot.
I mean, that's
a lot,
more than
But
what's
even
in
if
the
he
room
makes
right
multiple
now.
trips too,
Yeah,
like
makes
he does
multiple
10
trips.
trips over the course
That's
of
30 people that
Exactly.
you can be helping.
Mhm.
And I think that's so great, because, you know, every little thing counts, you know, like maybe somebody really needs that blanket because, you know, it's cold, it's winter, it's still winter, and it's freezing, and they don't want to freeze to death in the middle of the night because they have nowhere to go, and that blanket is just enough, you know.
Mhm.
And I think every little thing helps. Every little thing matters. I know a lot of places are doing drives and stuff to help, like a lot of churches. I think
I
think the one on the Montclair campus is doing it, and I know
Yeah.
WMSC is contributing.
So it's just the little things they add up, because if everybody's community does little things, then the whole community as a whole can do a really big impact. Because like you
Yeah.
said, just because it's 10 people doesn't mean it's not going to make 10 people's lives like completely different than had no
Exactly.
one helped at all.
Exactly, because it's not their fault. I mean, it's not Ukraine's fault in general.
Absolutely.
But it's especially not these citizens' fault. They're just living their day-to-day lives, and all of a sudden they're in the impact, and that's awful. And I'm glad Point Pleasant Beach Mayor Kenitra, I hope I'm saying his last name right. I'm glad he's doing this, and I'm sure that there are more people like this who are doing that. And it's nice to see. It's definitely nice to see.
Exactly.
Personally, I can't do that. I don't even have enough money to go buy myself lunch today. But I mean,
we have the drives coming up, so you can help out. But the help seems to be extending more than just locally. The United States is also offering its aid to Ukraine. The Biden administration will extend immigration relief to Ukrainians in the U.S. So the Department of Homeland Security will allow Ukrainians who are in the United States to remain in the country under a form of humanitarian relief. The relief, known as temporary protected status, applies to people who face extreme hardship if forced to return to homelands devastated by armed conflict or natural disasters. Therefore, protections are limited to people already in the United States. The DHS secretary has discretion to designate a country for TPS. DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas said that in a statement, quote, Russia's premeditated and unprovoked attack on Ukraine has resulted in an ongoing war, senseless violence, and Ukrainians forced to seek refuge in other countries. In those extraordinary times, we will continue to offer our support and protection to Ukrainian nationals in the United States, end quote. In a letter to President Joe Biden this week, a bipartisan group of senators urged the administration to extend the relief, writing, quote, forcing Ukrainian nationals to return to Ukraine in the midst of war would be inconsistent with America's values and our national security interests, end quote. And I completely agree with that.
Yes, for sure.
We shouldn't be sending, it just makes sense. Obviously, don't send people back to a place where they shouldn't feel safe. And in a place where we offer all opportunity to anybody here,
of course,
we need to be offering the same opportunity to those who need our help as well.
And
so I'm absolutely glad that they're going to be extending immigration here, just so we can be able to do some part, though we can't, go help them out in the war. We can at least help them out in not little, because it's huge to them. So in whatever way we can. So I'm really happy that they're doing this for the Ukrainians in the country.
And I know that there's been different opinions about immigrants coming in to the country, and I know that's a big thing between the different parties. But I also had a conversation with who was it? It might have been Ben, who is our assistant programming director. And he was like, because he's a history major, so he knows more than I do. He said, in times of war and things like that, like in America's history, normally, like the different parties, they stop disagreeing. They just agree, because in times of war and in times of like hardships, it's just easier and it's best for the country and for everybody around to just agree. And I think it's great that in these times we can do that, because we can do things like, extend immigration relief and things like that, because I mean, these people obviously need it. Whereas if it were any other time, there'd probably be a big argument about, are we letting them stay? Are we not letting them stay? Blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But because
I feel
it's
like
this time,
those conversations would just be completely out of taste. Honestly, I think immigration is a whole different thing. I just feel like people need to have empathy and sympathy for people who are in hardship regardless. And it's great that you bring that point up, is the fact that in times of hardship, we need to just consider who's being affected and how can we help you, instead of demonizing people who are from somewhere else and demonizing the fact they had to run away or need support from coming from a really hard situation. And like you said, I haven't seen any debates about
Mm-mm.
immigration in this sense.
Mm-mm.
And it's because it's like really like they need the help. And that should be the baseline for all of this. People need help. We need to help them.
For sure. I mean, that's basically it with that, you know, like that is the story.
It should just be that, you know.
Exactly, for sure. But we got a quirky, not like the other girl story, and this one has to do with Starbucks. If you don't know what Starbucks is, that's Starbucks. Speak, Gabi, or don't speak at all. I kid. I promise, I kid. Starbucks worker publicly embarrasses customer who mobile ordered coffee with tons of customizations, and it's sparking a debate. In a viral TikTok video, it's always TikTok. Annabella, if you're still listening, it's always TikTok. I'm telling you. Starbucks. Professor Poland does not like TikTok. A Starbucks worker reads aloud a mobile order with a ton of modifications to publicly embarrass the customer, sparking debate on the platform. The customer ordered a venti iced white mocha with 15 customizations, including 12 blonde, long shots of espresso, several different syrups, Irish cream cold foam, and both mocha and caramel syrup. The TikTok shows the Starbucks employee calling out the order by reading each of the customizations out loud. The customer laughs as he's handed the drink, and the worker receives applause. With over 185,000 views, the video sparked a debate in the comments about whether or not the order was a joke. One user said, quote, "That's legit just a $20 joke on him," end quote. Another asked, quote, "He just embarrassed himself. What was the point?" End quote. Others wondered if the extensive list of modifications was simply what the customer wanted. One user said, quote, "LOL, imagine if that's just what the homeboy wanted to drink," end quote. Another said, quote, "Genuine question. How do you know it's a prank? I get drinks that have a lot of modifications because I'm picky," end quote. However, many explained in the comments that modifications to that extent are unlikely to be an actual drink. Another user said, quote, "Typically mods are coherent with the drink. Prank drinks are just people hitting buttons," end quote, one user said. I don't know. Okay.
I know people put a lot of crazy stuff in
Yeah,
coffee,
like, you
but
can-
that's a lot.
Sometimes, okay, here's why I believe that it's real. Because when I was a barista,
Oh, you worked at Starbucks?
no,
Oh.
I worked at Bumpkin Donuts.
Really?
Pumpkins.
I did work at Bumpkin
Don't
Donuts.
tell me any horror stories, thank you.
Oof, I won't. But we did have a customer who did come in every day basically and ordered a large iced coffee with, what was it, 8 pumps of liquid sugar, 12 pumps of caramel,
Whoa.
and like 8 shots of milk.
My teeth are screaming.
Oh my
They were
god.
And like
so,
half
like-
the cup was just caramel and sugar.
Oh
And
my goodness.
it was absolute. And then they'd ask for whipped cream on the top.
Of course.
So to
Of
top it
course.
off, you know,
Gosh.
Of course you
with
can.
the syrup, you know,
But
drizzled
you
on
can't
top.
leave that out.
This is an everyday occurrence,
Ooh.
and
baloney.
the husband would come and order it for the wife.
Ooh.
Like the wife didn't come to order it; the husband ordered it and then brought it to his wife.
How much was that coffee?
Dunkin' doesn't charge. Sorry, Bumpkin doesn't charge for their syrups
Modifications, okay.
modifications or anything. So we were probably losing. Yeah, that they do. But syrups they don't charge for, so basically she was getting all that.
Does
for
Starbucks
free.
do that?
Starbucks
Yeah,
charges for
Starbucks charges.
modifications.
Yeah, they charge
yeah.
for
Oh.
So-
That's why it's like a $20 drink. 'Cause they added like so much.
Yeah.
stuff.
So I don't know if I'd ever do that at Starbucks because that's money. I one time bought an
Yeah.
$8 drink and I was like, it was delicious, but I was like, never again.
My girlfriend's a big fan of just getting random TikTok drinks and
Mhm.
trying them.
So am I.
I look
Yeah.
at
I
like
love-
thing,
I have
it's
so many of them
$12
saved.
Starbucks run.
Yeah. I used to do that too, and then I found the one thing I liked and I've stuck with it. And it's got like one modification to it, and that's it. But like I know like a lot of people, so it is possible that just could have been the guy's order. But I mean, he did laugh when the employee read it aloud. Listen, if you're gonna order like that, expect backlash. Because
Yeah,
what
that's
is
a
going
lot.
on?
And like $20 on a like
I
that,
know.
that's the thing that I'm like wrapping my mind around. It's like I kind of doesn't feel real just because he's
It's not
they
worth
like
extra
20 bucks.
50
Yeah.
cents for,
I
like, every
promise
little
you-
thing
Also, with
add.
all that stuff in it, would it even taste good with
I don't
all
know,
that
exactly.
mixture?
And-
Like,
you
and
can't
if
get
we're-
something
And if
else.
we're being honest, look, I'm a big Starbucks fan myself.
Same.
This
Me
is not a
too.
promotion for Starbucks. I
love
just naturally
Starbucks.
am. But I don't think I would I don't think Starbucks is worth the $20 drink. I'm sorry, their coffee is not good enough for that.
I'm good at
I don't
Dunkin'
even get
5
their
times over
coffee.
before I go to Starbucks.
Exactly. Well, it would be basically the same price. To go to the so I just $20 for a drink, even if it was like the best coffee in the world, it's got to be the best cup of coffee I will ever
No,
drink in my
seriously,
entire life,
yeah.
That is
or it's
obscene.
not worth it.
Damn.
$20.
Now I really want coffee.
Oof.
Yeah, now I really
I'm
want
gonna
I
walk over to
know.
Dunkin' now. Great.
Oops. Don't get 12 pumps of caramel. No, I don't know.
No.
That's disgusting. It was literally
Yeah.
half the cup, and she knew if it was like a pump off.
Really?
Shut up.
No, I promise you, she knew. Because then the next day they come and they'd be like, "You made it wrong yesterday."
Oh my
Girlfriend, half the cup
gosh.
was caramel. Caramel. Yes, I say caramel. Judge
Caramel.
me.
Yeah.
Judge me.
Caramel.
Judge me. I don't care. Judge me for saying caramel.
Jeez.
Do it. Do it. I'm doing it. Okay. And I'm not upset. I'm not offended. That's great. If somebody says caramel to me, I'll respond with caramel. We're agreeing to disagree, me and Lara, right now. Zoom can see our handshake. All right.
That's good.
We're going to finish off with this one last story real quick with the 5 minutes we have
Absolutely.
left.
We're finishing off with a Florida man story, everybody. So, Florida man busted after tantrum about bacon. So, before we all send you off on spring break, we have a final story about a Florida man. So, at Cape Coral, police officers arrested a man at a Waffle House on Wednesday after they received calls about a disturbance. When officers arrived, they said they heard a man identified as 28-year-old Martin Jose Alvarez yelling expletives at the staff about how his bacon was cooked. Officers said Alvarez screamed, quote, "You better cook the blank bacon right," end quote. Officers asked Alvarez to come outside, but he resisted until they threatened to use a taser. Alvarez was later arrested and charged with disorderly intoxication, resisting arrest, and intent to do violence. He's currently being held at the Lee County Jail. Sir, it was not that serious.
This is like the "can I please get a waffle?" Like just standing there being like, "Hey."
It always
Oh,
happens
and it was at a Waffle House.
It's always at a Waffle House.
Always.
Waffle
Every
Houses.
story it's about in Florida. It's about a Waffle.
I don't
Waffle House.
understand. Like, bro, just make your own bacon if it's that big of a deal.
Like literally, go to like Walmart. Florida and Walmart also doesn't mix, so I feel like this would have happened at the Walmart.
All this man had to do was be like, "Hey, my bacon is not cooked correctly.
Yeah.
Can you make it, please?"
He was under the influence, so like
Yeah, okay,
you
but
can't-
still.
you can't expect Florida people on under the influence.
It's
to
always
do
in
something
Florida.
right.
I wonder which Waffle House in Florida it was.
There's so many.
Me just curious
you
about
know?
where.
It's probably one like every other block, so it's just like
No,
oh,
literally.
it was that week.
Like
for that
every
one.
couple
That
miles.
one.
It was that one this week.
It was that one this week.
Wait,
They're like, "Did you
yikes.
hear about the Waffle House? Which one? This one." Oh, girlfriend, I heard about that one last week.
The one
you
on
know?
4th, it happened again. Jeez.
Exactly. Wow.
He should be embarrassed, low key. Like when he like sobers up, he's like, "I'm in here because of bacon."
Yeah.
When you're when you love bacon so much and they ruin it, they soiled it.
One
Soiled
tier.
it. Soiled it. Yeah. It's always the Florida. We haven't had a Florida man story in a while.
This was a good one.
This one was funny.
This
I
one was a
liked
good
this one. Thank you, Lara, for picking this one.